and so we want to try to get this thing resolved as soon as possible. So I think I saw the first hand go up. Yeah.
Yeah,
And where are you from?
Westchester.
Westchester.
How long will, I'm sorry.
No.
If there are rumors at Westchester that this semester will be canceled if the strike goes on for a set amount of time, has there been a decision on just how long that would be?
You know, that's a great question. What matters most in that one is what the U.S. Department of Education tells us. Because we are all over we know our universities are accredited, and they're accredited by those agencies. And that U.S. Department of Education says you've got to meet those certain accreditation standards. The problem is they haven't been here, so they don't know what the answer is. They don't know how long it could go before it's too late to make up the semester. We're hoping that this thing can be done as soon as possible. We really want this to be done as soon as possible, and hope that I know the union will look at it as well. But unfortunately, the U.S. Department of Education can't give us an answer to say 2 weeks, 1 week, 5 days, 10 days. It's just not out there. The closest thing we have is when a university goes through, let's say, a hurricane or a tornado or a snowstorm, which we all have here. There are ways to kind of help get through that. I think I saw. Yeah, you. Where are you from?
I'm from Shippensburg University. I'm a grad student in the MSW program.
Yeah.
We are all in our internships right now, and we were first told that we could go to our internships and the hours would count.
Okay.
We were told today that they would not count,
Okay.
and that we would only be there for a volunteer basis. Our concern in the social work department is if we go and the strike lasts longer than it is anticipated, will we lose financial aid for volunteering our hours? Because we're in social work, so we are needed in the field, we are needed in the society, we are needed in our internships. And we want to be there,
Yeah.
and we don't mind volunteering,
Yeah.
but we don't want to jeopardize our financial aid to continue our education.
Absolutely. That's a very, very specific question on the MSW internships. Let me get you an answer and see if I can.
Well, we've been emailing and we've gotten no answers.
All right.
My name is Sabina, I'm from Westchester, and I'm gonna be quite honest, like, I'm pretty angry about this whole situation. And if you guys saying you're trying to resolve it really quickly, but I know that I have, as well as probably other people in this room, I've emailed the chancellor, and it got a very blank, like, copy and paste, like, so I was on some sort of email link in response. I do not feel like the state system is putting their best foot forward in our interests. Like, we came here during the Board of Governors meeting while there was an award ceremony going on. And when we tried to have a conversation with the chancellor before the strike was happening, we got ignored. So I continue to feel like what's happening here is a system that has a bigger vested interest in the financial aspect of the universities rather than my future. So we came down here because the strike is affecting all of us. Like, it hurts me to see my faculty hurt, but this has a lot to do with, you know, my graduation date, what I'm going to be doing. But I think largely, and I think everybody in this room can agree, that we don't feel heard or seen by you guys.
That's fair. That's fair. On the question of email, I can tell you we see every email. We get them. We don't have an auto respond thing. Now, we have to create some answers that help and kind of give you direction of where you can find information. But there's been a lot of input. We're getting a lot of input, so it's taking some time to answer those individual emails. And you know what? We like that. We like that you're giving us this input, because there are 100,000 students in this system, and every single one of them have a different situation, and every single one of them have different questions and different answers. It takes time to get those answers to you, but we want to get those answers to you. But on your point of personal impact, that's what this is all about, guys. The contract that we are negotiating right now is a contract that this office isn't going to pay for. We don't have money here. We get money from the state. Most of the money comes from you. 75% of the money comes from you. And then it all goes right back out to the university. We don't pay for it. Your university pays for it. So whatever contract is negotiated here, we give it to them. They pay their share. So if the contract is too expensive, that's going to come down on Slippery Rock. That's going to come down on Millersville. That's going to come down on Westchester. And they have to pay the bill. And if we don't get more money from the legislature, and we're down there all the time asking for it, and they've, for the first time in 2 years, these last 2 years, we've gotten more from the legislature and from the governor. We're pleased with that. But if we don't get more, you're the only ones we have left to come to. And we don't want the tuition to go up more than is reasonable. You all have paid more tuition, and you've done your part, and you continue to do your part. But we don't want to keep jacking it up more than we have to. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rachel Millis. I'm from Westchester University. I'm wondering what the chancellor is doing if he's working on forwarding this, because he's not at the negotiating table. Apscuf is at the negotiating table. Where is he?
That's a great question. I can tell you exactly. People say, why isn't the chancellor at the negotiating table? You know what? We take a team approach to these negotiations. We always have. So at our table, and for us, for our team, we have representatives from the universities, we have representatives from our office, we have people who from a finance perspective, people from an academic perspective, people who know every aspect of this system. They work for the year and a half that this process takes. They are there all the time. I don't want to use a sports analogy, but I'll use one. They're sort of like the football team, and for this analogy, the chancellor's the coach. You don't want the coach physically on the field trying to run the play, and I think we've all seen some of our football coaches. We would not want them on the field necessarily trying to run the play, but they are making the calls. You rely on your team to run the play because they're on the field every day, every second of this, and they have the ability and the agility to run the plays that you call. So if you have the impression that he's not involved, that is a wrong impression. I can tell you personally, when I was at that table on the night that this all went down, I was there till after 5 o'clock in the morning. I was on the phone with him until 5 o'clock in the morning, waiting to hear whether Apscuf would accept our latest offer. Until 4:57, they came in and said, we're going on strike. So if you've gotten the impression that we walked away from the table, or that we haven't been there or aren't still engaged, I'm here to tell you.
Are you guys still negotiating? Are you ready to negotiate with Apscuf? Are you guys ready to sit down at the table?
We are ready to find any pathway forward, but you know what? We have to have a willing partner, all right? We have to have a willing partner.
So just for the record.
Question. I'll take a student question here.
Me?
Yeah. Where are you from?
My name is Sophia Desi. I'm from Millersville. I'm in Honors College, still at MU. But
Millersville College even.
yes, Millersville University. I, as well, my parents are they're foreigners, so they came here and they put me to school so I can go to school, and I pay X amount of dollars to attend Millersville University. Now, how me and the other students of the other universities that are on strike, how are we being reimbursed for the days of school that we've missed already? I have exams on hold. I have other assignments that I can't plug in and we can't receive a grade for because my professors are out there picketing with set signs and they have no answers and I don't either, and my parents have none. And they're upset, I'm upset, and you see the row of upsetness. So how are we being reimbursed as students for the days that we've missed so far?
I'll go back to our snow analogy. If we're closed for 5 days because of snow, we work around trying to make those days up so that you can finish the semester. At that point, there's not a question of reimbursement. No, the goal there is to get done and get the semester. So our goal here would be, if this is a short strike, let's get together and see if we can finish the semester, so you don't have to think about the question of reimbursement. If this thing goes long and the semester doesn't finish the way, our FAQ, which has been on the website for the last couple of weeks, says the university system would have to look at some sort of reimbursement scheme and schedule. But we're not there yet. But that information's there. And so far, these questions, I think all of them so far, except maybe yours, has been on the FAQ. You got one already? We'll go there.
I was just going to, so you said that the brunt of the cost would come on us, and like if the contract, if the money increases, is the administration attempted to do anything in-house to adjust your own type of situation, and that instead of it putting on us, maybe the administration does something different?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We had said, oh, I'm glad you brought that one up. Why are we getting pay raises when the faculty haven't? So last year, the biggest union in the state, Apscuf, and you may have heard of them. Some of your parents may even work or maybe members of Apscuf. They struck a deal with the Commonwealth, 1-year extension of their existing contract, and that included pay raises. Great, they do that. We have employees for Apscuf in the state system. So those employees who work for us got a pay raise. We went to all of our other unions, including Apscuf, and said, do you want a 1-year deal? You'll get a pay raise. There'll be some healthcare changes because the deal AFSCME also struck included the Commonwealth changing their healthcare system a bit, the way we've been doing with ours, and you'll get a 1-year extension and you'll get pay raises. All of our other unions said yes, unfortunately except for Apscuf. So we gave all the other unions, and then all of the other employees who don't work for unions got the same pay raise, all right? That meant, of course, the chancellor got a pay raise, the president got a pay raise, but so did the person who does, the bookkeeping, and so did the person who mows the lawn, and so did the person who keeps us safe as police officers, and so did the university nurses. They all got the pay raises because they all agreed to the same deal. Unfortunately, Apscuf chose not to, and that's where we're at on that one. Well, another question. Did I answer your other question, though? What are we doing to cut down on the other costs?
Yeah, just like the administration's in-house, is there anything the admin can do to take the weight off of us instead?
No, that's a great
putting it
question.
on the students?
So like over the last 10 years, you all know we've lost a lot of money from the legislature. There was a massive budget cut, or not budget cut, but appropriations cut 5 or 6 years ago, sometime before this chancellor, I think it was in the last chancellor. And we've been trying to dig out of that for the last 10 years. So to do that, we've been laying off people on the administrative side, we've been cutting positions. More than 900 fewer people work for this system today than they did 10 years ago. And 99% of those people are not faculty. They are people who cut the lawn, who do bookkeeping, who do everything else but the academic side. So we've been trimming for the last decade, trying to keep our side of the ledger as small as possible, trying to make as much available to the academic experience while not increasing tuition. I'll tell you, was it 7 or 8 years ago when they did that massive cut from the legislature? Tuition went up
About 7.5%.
7.5% in 1 year. 7.5% in 1 year. We can't do that. We can't do that. So we've been trying to keep tuition increases around 2, 2.5, 3, which is still not great, but it's better than 7, 7.5. And we're worried if this negotiation ends badly, or not badly, but too expensive, then where do we go? We will continue to get more and try to fight for more money from the legislature, but they have a reality to satisfy, and we'll continue to try to cut. But if you've already cut so much, where more can you cut?
So one of the things I've heard about, at least talking to some of my teachers, is that they have been working without a contract for almost 500 days now.
Yep.
And from what I've heard, these negotiations were more or less supposed to have happened like more than a year ago. So why didn't they happen?
Good
earlier?
question. Working without a contract, what that means is when your contract expires, you continue to work under the same terms of the former contract. So they're still continuing to get all of the benefits, all of the pay, all of the attributes which are in the existing contract. They continue to hold for the time being. And I've only been here for a couple of years, so this is my first time through this interesting, fun time that we're all having. Ken has been here forever, and Ken is our spokesman, affectionately referred to as our spokescritter by some folks in the social media sphere, but he's been here for like 4 or 5 of them. And I think you told me this is even not the longest negotiating.
Last time we went 19 months.
19 months, yeah.
19 months.
Yeah, and so that's part of the negotiating process, I guess. I think it's frustrating as all get out. But the good news is the faculty continue to work under a contract. They're protected by a contract. They can't be fired or moved around outside of the bounds of that existing contract. So they have the benefits of their existing contract, and including the benefits and pay. And that's good because we have great faculty. I don't care what you see in the news media, what you see in the rhetoric about what people say we think about faculty. Why in the world would we not want to support our faculty? They are the heart and soul of this organization. And it's frustrating when people say we don't think our faculty are good, or we don't think our faculty are worth it. They are. They're absolutely worth it. And that's why we're trying to get as much money to them. Our current proposal is trying to give them more money in exchange for a small concession on health care. So the health care plan that the nurses have, the doctors have, that I have, that everybody else has, costs a little bit more. It costs between $7 and $14 a month, or per pay period.